Exactly, exactly. Sure, it should. Theoretically, it should. Yes.
Is there an alarm if it does go below it, or does that just show up on SCADA?
I'm not terribly familiar with the SCADA system, so I wouldn't be able to tell you that right off. So, once that water is heated, it passes up. You can see that there's a Y strainer in line there, and what that does is it protects the humidification chamber nozzles from clogging. So any debris that might be down in your recirculation sump well that's getting recirculated back up through the line, that Y strainer will catch that debris and filter it out so it doesn't foul your nozzles. And you'll be able to monitor the pressure drop through that Y strainer by those pressure gauges on either side. So you'll be able to tell from those whether or not your Y strainer is starting to clog up and if you need to pull it out and clean it.
How would you clean something like that? It's behind the electrical.
Well, what you'd want to do is obviously you'd want to close the isolation valves there. And you would, for safety purposes where it's located, you'd probably want to power down the panel temporarily and then clean out your filter and power your system back up. When you power your system back up, it will automatically reset your timers back to their original settings. So wherever it is in its timer function for the irrigation, if you shut this panel off, turn it back on, it'll zero out and start from ground zero as far as the time is concerned.
So we have to readjust the timers.
No, the timers, and we'll go over that. I'll go over that with you right now. You see the timers here. What they're set at will not change if you power up or power down the control panel. They'll just reset their timer sequence when you power it back on. And in here, all you have is nothing really needs to ever be adjusted in here, but you do have an adjustable panel heater here. But this is an enclosed cabinet, and that panel heater is more, I think, more for the purposes of reducing any condensation or anything like that that you might see in a panel. So we're not. I'll go over the humidification sump with you after we turn this on, along with letting you take a peek in the humidification chamber, pre-humidification chamber, and watch the upper irrigation nozzles work, and you can kind of see the flows and the pressures that you'll be seeing in the upper and lower irrigations here. However, I don't think we will be turning on the blowers this morning. So we'll close this up. You know, I don't know how, if you guys are ever doing any work in the electrical panel, and this is something that I have seen happen in the past, and it's kind of a common sense thing. If the panel's powered down and this door is open, the main feed coming into that panel is still hot. So under no circumstances should you try to adjust anything coming off the main electrical feed going into that panel unless the main power is off. I have seen people shock themselves pretty bad, and with 480 going into this panel, you'll be lucky to live if that happens. So, you powered it on? Yeah. Okay. So the unit's been powered on. In a second here, are all the valves open? You can see, you hear the timer go off, the solenoid opened on the upper irrigation system. You can see that you have flow here. The dosatron is clicking. That means it's working. It's sucking up nutrient from this tank and injecting it into that line. I pre-programmed the timers. The lower irrigation you may or may not see go off. That'll go off once every 3 cycles of the upper irrigation system. So I don't know if you guys want to take a minute and watch that flow meter go up and watch that go on. You can kind of see what happens as that opens.
I must have fell asleep during that part. Do you feed nutrients all the time, or just to get it started up?
All the time. Yep.
I didn't know if it was only for startup.
Yep.
How long will that tank last?
there is, you can see there's that magnet in there, and then it goes down to a smaller section.
Yeah.
Right where it goes down to the smaller section, there's a fine ring on the top of that, and you can kind of see it over here on this one a little bit better.
Yeah.
But that's where you take the reading on that rotometer, is from a little ring around the top quarter of that magnet. This is the liquid nutrient that's added to the tank. You know, you probably just have to shake it up a little bit, and then you just, you know, you dump it right in. It's water soluble. It's a PKN nutrient, phosphorus, potassium, nitrogen. You can see it in here. I've already filled it up with nutrients. So okay. And do you have the humidification chamber on? You do? No. Okay. Now Randy's going to turn on the recirculation pumps for us, so that should get the 4 spray nozzles in the pre-humidification chamber going, and we'll be able to observe these pumps running, as well as taking a step up there and watching the humidification chamber work. So if you just want to take a step over here, and mind you, I'd be very careful. We don't want anybody falling down in here. What you're seeing is you should never see water levels that are much higher than the overflow line that you see there that goes into the waste sump that's adjacent to it here. And you have a duty and a standby pump that you can, it's powered by these panels here. There's a hand and an auto function, as well as there's a function in the SCADA system, I know, where you can switch between the duty and the standby pumps. Okay, so I guess a couple people at a time will take a step up on top here, and you'll be able to see some of this work. Yep. Now, if you want to peek through that access hatch right there, when this timer, what's that?
While we're up here.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to peek through this access hatch here, it's not on right now. It should turn on. It should turn on any second, though. Oh, there is? It's on now. So you'll be able to see those nozzles.
Work their way up.
Yep. They'll pop up and water will come out. Then as your air travels up through your bed, it gets filtered. There will be a cover on this hatch, so all the exhaust air will then move through the back of this filter, and right behind this concrete wall at the end, there is an exhaust stack on there that the air will exhaust. And you will get some condensate and rain and everything like that. That goes into your stack. We don't want that introduced back into the media bed. So you can see the bottom of this stack is sloped. There's a little rain trough there, and that goes to drain. And also, if we want to take a walk around the other side real quick, that's where the drain trap cleanouts come up from the biofilter drains and the humidification drains. So that's where that procedure would be taking place, is just around the other corner here of the humidification system. And for maintenance purposes, if you ever need to do any maintenance on anything in the pre-humidification chamber, you're going to want to shut the airflow off first before you take this manhole cover off there. That could be real dangerous, because with that airflow, if that cover's loosened up at all, it could fly off and potentially injure someone. So.
Shut everything down.
Yep. Lockout, tag out. Anytime you have to do any maintenance to the upper irrigation spray nozzles or anything underneath the covers, you have to ensure proper ventilation. Whether that's in the form of taking covers off or a gas meter or something along those lines, proper safety procedures should be taken.
Is there a shut-off valve in the outer
that coming into the?
There is. Over by the blower here, there's a main power on off for the blower, and then there's also a damper there.
Yeah. No way you can even vent that thing if you still got gases coming into it now.
Exactly. That would defeat the purpose of venting it, yeah.
Hank is gonna put a garden hose in his mouth and take care of it.
And there's the drain traps coming up through the ground over on this side here, where the drains would be cleaned.
You can shoot the back and you can put up with that.
So this is the main blower feed power here. And again, yeah, everything should be locked out, tagged out. There should be no air going into the system at all if anybody's underneath those covers doing any sort of maintenance. Well, regardless of anything else, this blower is balanced right now. When it turns on, it will pull 18,000 CFM regardless. So,
Like I'm saying, like if the say suppose he wants to open a manhole over there, you know, when he opens it up, it's gonna be like
could be like a wind tunnel down
so
there.
close. That's what I'm saying.
potentially.
So do they have to shut the system down when they go in?
That's something that you probably want to take up with those that are responsible for the maintenance and safety of
Get shut off
the
when
downstream of this unit. Yeah,
shut a valve off.
definitely. Yeah, I definitely recommend knowing that before you go into anything like that.
I think it's stuck in-
So, is there any more questions I can go over with anyone? Turn the air on, you turn the water on, the timers automatically start working, the dosing unit automatically works, and it runs itself. The blowdown function for the recirculation sump is run off the SCADA system. The temperature of the media bed can also be monitored there, and the glycol, the heat exchanger, can also be adjusted per the set temperature in the SCADA system there.